Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Society of Bangor. On this balmy morning, we all survived. At least hope we all survived. To start off this morning, first of all, welcome to all friends, families, UUSB members, and guests. I'd like to quickly acknowledge that we are present on unceded Wabanaki territory and that we are grateful and honored to be here. I would also like to welcome the Reverend Rebecca Liberty for her first full service with us. And we are so blessed to have her as our sabbatical minister. And she is going to share a little welcome, and we've got some other welcomes before we do my announcements.
Good morning. I just wanted to add my words of welcome to everyone who's here in person and everyone who is worshiping online this morning. And I want to thank you all for your warm welcome as your sabbatical minister in this time. Thank you, Phyllis, and thank you, everyone. I also want to acknowledge that on February 1st, some of us observed Imbolc, which is midway between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. It is a really good time, and I think this morning an especially good time to celebrate the hope of spring. In the first stirrings of new life, even when they are still invisible under the very much frozen ground. And speaking of warmth and hope, Sue McKay has some words for us.
Good morning. I think everybody here in the sanctuary knows who I am, but maybe there are some people at home that don't. I'm Sue McKay. I serve as the chair of your church council. And I wanted to let you know about the amazing happenings that were happening downstairs in the vestry since Thursday night. I want to share with you the timeline of events that led to UUSB hosting one of a handful of 24/7 emergency warming centers operating in Maine this past weekend. The Needle Point Sanctuary, which works to better the lives of drug users and by extension the unhoused in the Bangor area, called the church office on Tuesday morning in hopes that we would partner with them to provide food and shelter to get folks through this historic cold snap. They called a number of churches and were not finding much success. Christine, our church administrator, called me, and by the afternoon, our church council approved the use of the vestry. By Thursday afternoon, Needlepoint volunteers were here preparing to serve whoever walked through the door. Christine was amazing, contacting our security company, relocating groups that would normally use that space, and getting info posted on our community Facebook page. She also handled the media and was featured in a segment on News Center Maine that aired statewide throughout their evening broadcasts. Karen Childs, our SEE director, hopped on with more postings and provided instructions how people could help with funding and other donations. And Karen came in early this morning to volunteer with them as well. I met with the Needlepoint volunteers on Thursday and pledged our support. From Thursday afternoon to this morning, our vestry was open morning, noon, and through the nights. Thursday, there were maybe 15 guests, but by Friday, that number more than doubled, and I've just been told it increased last night. As the outside temperatures dropped to dangerous levels, we were a sanctuary. The homeless weren't the only people that came into our vestry. People from all walks of life came by with donations of food, blanket, jackets, and more. UUSB provided kitchen supplies with funds donated through our minister's discretionary fund. Those funds were collected Christmas Eve, and probably most of you donated at that time. Though this was primarily a needlepoint project, because they had the expertise to work with this diverse population, we had several volunteers from UUSB lending a hand throughout the 4 days. This extreme cold has been described as a once-in-a-generation event, and I hope it is. UUSB answered the call, and while I can't say for sure that we helped save lives in the past few days, I am sure we made a difference. I hope you all are as proud as I am to call UUSB my spiritual home. Thank you.
So I forgot to say welcome to all those that are with us this morning at Zoom, perhaps still not sure whether they can start their car's battery or get here, but we appreciate you being with us in your own warm home. I'd like to just make the first announcement very briefly that this morning at 11:30 after the service, we were supposed to start our first discussion and study group on the UUA Common Read, Miracles and Mistakes and Miracles. And that was going to be led by Tracy Haskell, facilitated by Tracy Haskell and Lori Cartier. Tracy's at home needing to be there and wasn't able to come this morning, and our dear Lori has come down with COVID. So we are bumping that forward. We don't know whether we'll do that first Sunday in March or maybe a little sooner according to the Zoom schedule that we all might be able to join with. So be aware of how we may be rescheduling that. I'd also like to turn this over for a minute to Amy Starkey-Lamb, who is our chair of our financial stewardship team, and will talk to us a little bit about the upcoming pledge campaign, which starts March 5th.
Hello, good morning, everyone. So again, I'm Amy Starkey-Lamb. I chair the Financial Stewardship Committee, and I'm here to talk to you, as Phyllis said, because it's pledge campaign time again. So it's that time of year when we think about what kind of financial commitment that we can make for the upcoming fiscal year, which runs starting this July through June of next year. So our theme this year is It Takes a Village, You Matter. We felt that really placed some focus on the fact that it takes a lot of work from many people to accomplish what we want in this community, and that every person and every contribution matters. And this year, every contribution will matter even more because the pledge goal for the upcoming fiscal year is $139,377, which is about a 10% increase over last year's goal, which was already pretty aggressive. Now, this increase is primarily just to fund salary increases for our staff, which are really overdue. We need to get their compensation closer to what's outlined in the UUA guidelines. And while meeting this pledge goal won't get us there 100%, it'll certainly get us closer to that goal and is a step in the right direction. So, how is this pledge campaign going to work? Well, just like last year, we'll be conducting it virtually, which means that everyone in our directory will be getting an email that outlines all the important information you need, like the pledge goal and how to respond. There will be a pledge card embedded in the email if you prefer to print it off and mail it like some folks prefer to do. And there's also going to be a link that you can click on and put your pledge info in that will come directly to me. My contact info is also included. So the most important thing to remember is that we really want to make responding easy. You don't have to download and save and attach a pledge card or go through anything like that. The email outlines the various ways to respond based on what's easiest for you, even if that's just texting me your pledge amount. I keep track of all of those. So this email will be going out in the next few days, so just please keep an eye out for it. And of course, for those who do not have email, I'll be mailing the same information to the address listed for you in the directory. So you're not left out by any means, and I'm putting those envelopes in the mail tomorrow. So just keep an eye out for those. And as Phyllis mentioned, Pledge Sunday is planned for March 5th, where the service will be focused on financial stewardship and this pledge campaign. And our goal is to have everyone's responses by Sunday, March 26th, but early responses are definitely welcomed and encouraged. And I just want to emphasize how important a response to this campaign is, even if you can't make a financial commitment. With the bylaw change that took effect with the last pledge campaign, there's no longer a minimum pledge amount needed to maintain your active membership. Instead, all that's needed to maintain your membership status is just to respond to this campaign. So say that you don't know that you can commit in the upcoming fiscal year to any specific dollar amount. So in that case, you would still respond, but your response would be that you need to request a waiver. So one other reason to keep the March 26th response date in mind is that we'll be bringing back the Stewardship Talent Show. It's been 3 years since the last one, so we're all excited to see what talents and acts that people will have. It'll start at 11:30 in the vestry, so if you want to perform, please let Phyllis Havens or Dave Patterson know. He will be our MC for the event, and I know it'll be a lot of fun and a great way to celebrate being together again. So stay tuned throughout February for more great information. And as always, please feel free to reach out to me or any other member of the Financial Stewardship Committee if you have any questions at all. Thanks, everyone.
I'm going to ask for your patience this morning. We have one more announcement that we also think is important, and I know we're running a little late. And that is from Valerie Carter, and it is about our second Sunday food collection. We still have people that help do that, and our next collection will be next Sunday, the 12th. But what we don't have are enough people to gather the food after it's been collected, put it in your car or your truck, keep it overnight in your home, and then bring it to the Hammond Street Congregational Church food cupboard Monday morning at 9 o'clock. And they will unload your truck or vehicle and accept it. So Valerie, after the service, will be standing at the door. She's got a clipboard, or see her in the Dorothy. And we need just some people to sign up to take the donations at the end of the service. I mean, at the end of the Food and Chimes event, and keep it and then take it over to the Hammond Street Church on Monday morning at 9 o'clock. Thank you, and thank you for your patience. I know we've been talking a lot. So right now, I would love to pass it over to our choir for the introit. Thank you. Lighting our chalice this morning will be Valerie Carter. I'll read the chalice lighting as she does that. Know only that you are loved by the Reverend Gretchen Haley. We'll hear more from Reverend Rebecca. For this one moment, know only that you are loved, that you are safe and whole and loved. Know that you belong here, here among us, here upon this earth, in your body, however tired or broken your heart may be, whatever fear, disappointment, anger you carry, for this hour, you are not alone. Feel the presence of others surrounding you, breathing beside you and with you, discovering together the way our voices rise and fall together in harmony, in hope. Claim here a resilient freedom, the choice for love, for light to live with joy and gratitude and praise as a form of resistance. Already we are organizing. Come, let us worship together. Join me for our opening hymn, number 299.
Children or anyone else who'd like to come to the rug for our story for all ages. Do you know this book? No? Oh, it's good to be with you all today. Again, my name is Reverend Rebecca. I met some of the folks here a couple weeks ago, but I'll keep introducing myself for a while yet, because I know not everybody's here every Sunday. So the theme of this month is love. And there's a lot that we could say about love, and maybe the first and the most important thing to say is that we are so loved. Each of you, each of us, everyone is so incredibly loved. And we are loved no matter what happens to us, no matter what we do, no matter what we don't do. But we might wonder sometimes, really, what if we did something really, I don't know, really bad? Would we still be loved? And that's what the child in this story, this book, wonders. Mama, do you love me? It's a book by Barbara Josie, and it's illustrated by Barbara Lavallee. And we have the pictures on the screen, though that doesn't look quite the beginning. I think that's actually the last page somehow. Okay, well, we hope we'll have the pictures that can be seen by everyone. You all up close may be able to see them directly from the book. So, and this is great because the pictures are of indigenous folks who live in a place even colder than it has been here. So they're all bundled up. Mama, what? Alaska? I think maybe so. Mama, do you love me? Oh, there we go. Okay. So this is a video that you can watch later on YouTube also. So it's called Mama, Do You Love Me? So I'll just use the screen. Mama, do you love me? Yes, I do, dear one. How much? Always a good question. How much do you love me? I love you more than the raven loves his treasure, more than the dog loves his tail, more than the whale loves his spout. How long? I'll love you until the umiak flies into the darkness, till the stars turn to fish in the sky, and the puffin howls at the moon. Mama, what if I carried our eggs, our ptarmigan eggs, and I tried to be careful, and I tried to walk slowly, but I fell and the eggs broke? Then I would be sorry, but still, I would love you. What if I put salmon in your parka, ermine in your mittens, and lemmings in your mucklucks? Then I would be angry. What if I threw water at our lamp? Then, dear one, I would be very angry, but still, I would love you. What if I ran away? Then I would be worried. What if I stayed away and sang with the wolves and slept in a cave? Then, dear one, I would be very sad, but still, I would love you. What if I turned into a musk ox? Then I would be surprised. What if I turned into a walrus? Then I would be surprised and a little scared. What if I turned into a polar bear and I was the meanest bear you ever saw, and I had sharp, shiny teeth, and I chased you into your tent and you cried? Then I would be very surprised and very scared, but still, inside the bear, you would be you, and I would love you. I will love you forever and for always, because you are my dear one. So I chose this book because I think one of the most important things we can do together as a community is remind each other how much we are loved, no matter what. Because you and we are dear ones, not only to our families, but also to this community. And this community is now going to send you off to your classes with singing. Thank you for joining me here today.
However, dear ones, stay for a minute, because we've got something that we need to do first. What? And then we will sing it.
If there are any members of Shaw Ministry here, would you please come forward and join me? And I will ask Reverend Rebecca to stand up. A surprise! A surprise! So some of you were here a couple weeks ago when we blessed Reverend Drew Shaw before he left. Well, just as important to us is having Reverend Rebecca here for the next 6 or 7 months. And so we thought we would welcome her with her very own shawl. So this is the prayer that we used to bless this shawl. May divine grace be upon this shawl, warming, comforting, enfolding, and embracing. May this mantle be a safe haven, a sacred place of security and well-being, sustaining and embracing in good times as well as in difficult ones. As you wrap the shawl around you, may you be cradled in hope, kept in joy, graced with peace, and wrapped in love. Blessed be. And
Blessed
welcome.
be. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Welcome. So good to have you. Thank you. Not ready.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the light of love surround you.
Let us pray. Spirit, we give you thanks for this community, for the many joys, for the sharing of the burdens. We ask you to give a sense of your love, that we might celebrate, share it even more widely, that we might know in our bones how much we are loved, that we might bring that love to wherever we go. We pray that your love might become clear through healing, through hope, through peace, and through strength in difficult times and warmth in cold ones. Thank you for this space. Amen and blessed be.
We will now take the morning's offering. Our reading this morning is entitled, "The Home That Love Made." This is the home that love made. It is full of the love that the founders felt when they planned out these walls and raised these beams above us. This is the home that love made. It is full of the love of all who have worshiped here, those who have celebrated and grieved here, the babies dedicated, couples married, and family members mourned here. This is the home that love made. It is full of the love of our children as they learn and laugh together, and our youth as they grow into their own sense of purpose and meaning. This is the home that love made. It is full of the love of the staff who have served it, full of their hopes for this congregation, their hard work, and their acts of dedication. This is the home that love made. It is full of the love of the choir, the love made so clear in the voices lifted here on Sunday morning. This is the home that love made. It is full of our love, the love of this community, despite our differences and our disagreements, the love that holds us together as a people. This is the home that love made. Can you feel it? May the love be with us always. Amen, and blessed be.
One heart loving another, two hands reaching out. We can cover the world with love. Two voices singing together, one song ringing out. We can cover the world with love. Starting with this moment, we can make a change. If we love those around us, maybe they will do the same. Though we have a small voice and just a simple song, let's place it in the heart of another so they can pass it on. It starts with one heart loving another, two hands reaching out. We can cover the world with love.
Well, love is a rather daunting theme to begin with, to begin our time together. There are so many things to say, and they are so important. But we've already started with maybe the most important thing to say, that you are loved, no matter what. Simply by virtue of your existence, you have dignity and value. And it's important to say that because so many things happen in life that make it hard to hear that, to really feel it and know it in our bones. Often the people who are supposed to love us and who we depend on to love us just aren't very good at it. Or maybe they don't do it at all, like parents or partners or peers. And it can take a long time and a lot of work to heal from that. And it can take a lot of reminders along the way, so here is another one. You are loved, no matter what. You belong. You are valued. Part of learning to be loved, to receive love, actually sounds like the reverse. It's about how the love that we give is received. I'm struggling with the right verb here because when I say we're valued for the love we give, the love we offer, the love we do, it makes it sound kind of transactional, like a trade, like as if we earn the love we receive by the love we give. And that's not how it works. So maybe we could think instead about how we each embody love with a capital L. The love we are, the love we radiate out of us, the way we put our own distinctive passion out into the world, not for our sake alone, but for others. The way that divine love, or what I call capital L love, moves into and through us into the world. It's action a lot more than feeling. To quote a famous definition by M. Scott Peck, love is the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. Love is as love does. But as we extend ourselves for a greater purpose, the selves we extend are all different. Each of us embodies love in our own way, which first became really clear to me when I worked as a campus minister on a project to get people talking about their choices in life and work. And in working with students of any religious background or none, we invited students to consider what mattered most to them, their ultimate concerns, so to speak. And then we practiced ways to make choices according to those ultimate concerns. And many students thought this project was just like supposed to help them find a career, but we encouraged them to think about all the different roles they had or would have in life. Friend, son or daughter, student, citizen, mentor, member of a religious community, neighbor, parent. Now, that was a Catholic university where I was working, so we often used the word vocation to refer to those roles, although we often had to clarify that it wasn't, in some Catholic context, a vowed religious vocation, because we understood vocation to include all kinds of roles. And over the course of ministering with those students, I came to understand all of these roles, these vocations, as ways that each of us loves the world. It's a bit mysterious exactly how this works, but we can find guidance from mystics in many different religions. As they describe unity with divine love, mystics find poetic language for the ways that people carry that capital L love with them. For example, there's a line from the Sufi mystic and poet known to us as Rumi, who wrote so powerfully about love in the 13th century. He was especially concerned with the love between people and people with the divine. But there's also this line, let the beauty we love be what we do. It's open to interpretation about when and where doing that love happens. Life is full of opportunities and invitations to embody love in particular contexts. And to all of those contexts, we bring different gifts, our personalities and temperaments, our skills and talents, our educations and experiences. And all those ways, all of them of embodying love, those ways of extending ourselves for another, they're all valuable. But both in my students and in myself, I discovered a frequent obstacle to feeling like one's own loving was valued. The idea that love should look a certain way. As a white girl growing up in America in the 70s and 80s, I learned certain things about how love should look. About, for example, the sweet cooperativeness and quiet helpfulness that I should put out into the world. I admired that romantic ideal, but it was not how I was put together. And that became really obvious in middle school. It was tradition at my school for the 6th grade to put on an abridged version of Shakespeare's play, Romeo and Juliet, each year. And a variety of students would take on each role. So, like, there was a different Romeo for each time Romeo appeared in the play. And I so longed to be one of the Juliets. Not just because she was the lead, but because the role was so romantic and sweet. And I so wanted to be, or at least be seen as, romantic and sweet. Alas, it was already obvious that romantic and sweet were not my specialty. Instead, I was cast as the prince in the first scene, in which I strode onto stage and broke up a sword fight between the Capulets and Montagues. And I was one of the smallest kids in my class, but I seriously rocked that role. And I still know, all of these years later, I still know that part. Rebellious subjects, enemies to peace, profaners of this neighbor-stained steel, will you not hear? What ho! You men, you beasts, that quench the fire of your pernicious rage with purple fountains issuing from your veins, on pain of torture from those bloody hands, throw your mistempered weapons to the ground and hear the sentence of your moved prince. Oh, it was not exactly sweet, romantic Juliet. It was not every tiny 10-year-old girl who could pull off that prince's role. But for some reason, I could. I was just made that way. It took me years to feel valued for the different gifts that I could bring, and more importantly, to value my own unique ways of loving the world. In fact, I carried many similar shoulds into ministry, especially when I served alongside pastors who seemed to embody the ministry stereotype I grew up with, sort of the pastoral equivalent of Juliet, the sweet, perpetually available and understanding grandparentiness, realizing, of course, that each of those pastors was more complicated than the stereotype also. And not once, but 3 times, I served alongside a pastor from whom I differed tremendously in this way, before I finally learned to value, most of the time at least, the unique ways that we each could love the world in ministry, where we try to let the beauty we love be what we do. But Rumi's poem has another line after that. Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Hundreds of ways to embody love with a capital L. Hundreds of ways to love as friends, neighbors, citizens, employees, family members, church members, according to our own unique gifts. So let's stop shoulding all over ourselves, shall we? As if love can only look one way. When we are first meeting someone, wouldn't it be something if instead of asking, "What do you do?" we asked, "And how is it that you love the world?" Well, it might be kind of weird. But as we are getting to know each other in the coming weeks, I would still like to know that about you. What do you love? What are you passionate about in your life and in this community? How do you live that out? And what sustains you when love is really hard? In community, we have the chance to see one another's unique ways of loving, and not only to see them, but also to name them and name their value. Like a friend did for me when I was just out of college, living in intentional community with a group of women. One of them, a young woman of deep and expressive feeling, experienced a loss in her family. Finding her sobbing openly in the living room, I ran and hid. But the next day, she and I had a long conversation about what the loss meant to her. And I apologized for running away the day before. And she named something for me that I had never considered. She said, "You connect with people through ideas rather than feelings. I don't do it that way, but you do." It was one of many times that community life has demonstrated there are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. To receive the love offered by another person in the unique way that they offer it is one of the best ways we can love each other. And at times when we are not sure how to value our own gifts, not sure what love we can give, confused about opportunities and invitations to love, we can remind each other that just as in the frozen ground, there are workings in us too that we cannot yet see. Sometimes love is still hidden, getting ready to emerge. And it will help us to recognize it if we don't expect it to look only one way. So may we hear in Rumi's words permission to love in our own ways, to name our connection with the divine moving through us, to notice love with a capital L in the unique ways we embody it. And when we do that, we move closer to seeing ourselves as loved as we truly are. Let us sing our closing hymn, number 1008.
All of it.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the will
we extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of love and commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.